Hello, YouTube Thrivers. We are live with another informative narcissistic abuse recovery live session. Let me know that you're there and that you can see and hear me okay. I'm going to get the chat started so that I can get it going. All right. Okay, we've got some people coming in. Where are you from? Let me know. Got a really good discussion that we're going to be doing today, which I am really excited about. We've got Kelly here from Michigan. Hello, Kelly. Lovely to have you here. We've got people coming in. This is awesome. Can you see and hear me okay? We've got Monica from Dallas. Hello, hello. Beautiful to see you. All right. We're going to be talking about some really interesting stuff today, which is boundaries. Boundaries are everything. And what I always get so excited about is helping people understand how to be a boundary beast, which hasn't been easy for us empaths and us sensitives and people who've been affected by narcissistic abuse. It's been one of the hardest things to get right. And 100%, when we've been in narcissistic relationships, our boundaries get shattered and battered. And we become even further back in our boundary development. So, this is why we really need to focus on this and really need to understand what's been going on. All right, now, before I get started, I just want to remind you again, which I have been doing in all of my recent lives, is that coming up on September the 5th, I'm going to be running another global Thrive group where we work very, very closely, hands on, myself and the team, to help you go from zero to hero. So, even those of you that may have been really dedicated to your Thriver recovery and maybe even doing NARP, if you've struggled to really get the most out of the healings, or if you haven't started NARP at all, but you're still struggling, you're struggling with your recovery. You're waking up every day and you're wondering where the pain's going to end, and you can't stop obsessing about the narcissist, or maybe breaking no contact, or maybe you haven't been able to get the strength and the courage to leave yet, or you've got no idea how you're going to be able to parallel parent effectively, how you're going to rebuild your life after losing all of your finances. The list goes on and on and on and on. And we go through all of it in Thrive in the 10 weeks of intensive boot camp. And I say boot camp because it's intense and it's a structure and a procedure that we follow, but it is so loving and supportive at the same time. Gives you everything you need to get your breakthroughs. So, Jessica, you're saying you can't wait for September 5. It's only a couple of weeks, about 3 weeks away, a little bit less. It's going to come up really, really quickly. And I can't wait to have you here. So, okay. All right. You can check out Thrive by going to melanietoniaevans.com/thrive, the word thrive. Check it out. You're going to be able to see the format. You'll see lots of the testimonies from the last group. Myself and the team, we're so committed and dedicated. It's our life mission to help people get to where we are. But even we were blown away by the results of what happened for people very quickly, very powerfully, even people that have been struggling to heal for decades. So I can't recommend it enough, because in 10 weeks' time, you could be a completely different person to how you're feeling your life is now. Okay, so let's have a look at the 3 pillars of boundaries. Okay, I just want to take you through first, what is a boundary? Okay, a boundary is it's like a perimeter, it's like a wall. It keeps the good in and it keeps the bad out. And all of us know logically that we don't just leave our houses unlocked and we just let anybody walk in and help themselves to the food in our cupboards, or, sleep in our bed. We know we just don't do that. We know that we don't have open bank accounts. that people can hack into and just take our money. And we know that we don't go and drive somewhere and leave the doors of our car unlocked and just leave our keys in there. We know this. Would you agree? It's very, very simple to understand that the things in our life that are important and valuable, we need to have boundaries with them. Yeah. But we weren't taught about the boundaries to our inner being, to the sanctity of our soul, to our emotional sovereignty and our health, which as an individual having a spiritual experience in a physical environment, and having to bump around together and have a life and share it with other humans on this planet, we weren't taught how to have boundaries to the sanctity of our soul. And what does the sanctity of our soul mean? It means our well-being. It means who we've decided we are. We've decided that our life is worth our money's worth protecting, our homes are worth protecting, our bank accounts, our cars are worth protecting, but we didn't know that ourselves were worth protecting. We just didn't understand that. Now we can, and now we do. Because when we start thriving and we realize that nobody is going to look after our boundaries for us as children, hopefully we had parents that respected our boundaries and kept us safe. But when you think about it, a lot of them, they've never learnt about boundaries and they probably had their boundaries violated as well. Okay. So, Violet, you're here, honey. I'm so sorry I missed you on Skype. I was running late getting ready this morning for this, but it's lovely to see you, Violet. I'm so pleased you're here, honey. Okay. So let me just get into the flow of this because it's really important to understand that most of us from a very young age had our boundaries violated. We weren't brought up to understand that we had a right and a truth to honor ourselves and to say no. So maybe when you were little, what happened is, your toys were given to other people, or maybe you had, parents that went through your stuff. And maybe you were taught that if you tried to hold a boundary and say no and be able to respect yourself, that you were told you were selfish, you were told that you were wrong, you were taught through negative programming that it wasn't okay to have your own autonomy. In fact, you might have been taught to self sacrifice and to even martyr yourself to try to keep other people happy so that they may love you. All of these things are a recipe for narcissistic abuse because we've gone into relationships not knowing our boundaries, not understanding how to set a boundary, being terrified that if we do set a boundary, that we're going to have the experience of being crapped on, CRAP, criticized, rejected, abandoned, or punished for trying to live our truth. And therefore, we decided it's just much easier to keep the peace. Jessica is saying, when I was little, I was threatened. And for a lot of people, when they were little, they had much worse than having their toys taken away or, stuff gone through their room, much worse. You could have had severe emotional, mental, physical, spiritual, psychic, sexual boundary violation happen when you were little. It happened to a lot of people. Okay, so what happened was it was very, very familiar for us to try to keep the peace, to not stand up for our values and our rights. And as adults, to really be unconsciously on the inside still that child that has had boundaries violated, who's trying to keep everybody happy in the hope that they will look after your boundaries. And I want you to know this is so key and important. The more of your values your freedoms, your self respect, and your autonomy that you hand away to people to try to make them keep you safe, the more they're going to violate you. I want that to sink in because it's so important. Because nothing outside of yourself is responsible for your safety, value, and truth. You are. And as children, we couldn't say, well, dad or mum, you're an alcoholic and you're abusive and violent. And unless you get your ass off to really good therapy and you stop this behavior and you get well, um, well, I'm gone anyway because I'm gone because I need you to do that, but I'm not going to be in your life unless you do, and you really prove it, and it's really true. Like as a little child, you can't say that. You can't look after yourself and detach and get away from somebody abusive. You had to try to survive and exist, and that always meant handing your boundaries away, and you weren't even able to develop boundaries. So, as adults moving forward, it's just really incredible that the pillar of boundaries is you have to understand the first point that I made. The more that you hand over freedom, rights, and self value and self respect, the more you diminish yourself to try to acquiesce to somebody or something outside of yourself that is apparently looking after you, the more you are going to get violated and abused. And this is what we did with narcissists constantly. We said, all right, well, I will just stop seeing my friends. I will stop talking to my family. I will stop having a life. I will do this and this and this and this, even though it feels like rubbish on the inside and your soul is screaming because your soul is about autonomy and freedom and self-love and self-respect and fulfillment and honesty and truth. And it knows. And everything is screaming in you, and you're just going, okay, well, I'll just give you this, and 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 I'll just give you this. Okay. And what happens is you think, well, if I just do this, or if I just do that, or if I just give you one more piece of me, and if I just keep you happy and I just acquiesce. Really, what we're saying is we're being the broken child saying, well, if I just please you and I acquiesce and I tread around broken glass over your dysfunction, over your need to control me so that you can feel better, that you're going to give me love, approval, security, and safety and survival. Doesn't work that way. It has to be an inside job. And this is the thing because, and you're right, somebody saying it makes me sad how much power I've given away by letting narcissistic people erode my boundaries. Claire Hunt, you could not have put this better. You could not have explained that better because that's exactly what's happened. All right. So the first foundation is we need to understand that the more you give up your boundaries to somebody or something else outside of yourself to try to get them to back off or look after you or do the right thing or give you what you finally want, it's never going to happen. And it's actually quantum law, so within, so without. And what does quantum law mean? It means there's only one person in the room. It means that your inner universe creates your outer universe. And you're never going to create the inner or the outer universe you want by handing your power away. It just doesn't work like that. So, what does this really mean? It means that to step into the first pillar of boundary reality, we have to be willing to be uncomfortable because we might think it's a comfort zone to people please and just go along and keep the peace and try to do the right thing. We might think it's a comfort zone. But you are selling your soul out. And what's going to happen is where you think, I don't want disruption. I don't want to rock the boat. I don't want to risk being criticized, rejected, abandoned, or punished. I don't want to risk any of those things. You are just sinking down into a deep black hole of your own demise where you are going to get beyond uncomfortable. So, this is the thing as a human race and thrivers evolving and stepping into our true magnificence, we have to be prepared to get bloody uncomfortable. Because if you don't take a stand for your soul, you're going to lose it. Am I making sense? Your emotional body knows. It knows when something's wrong. It knows when it feels off. It knows when you are being violated. You have this beautiful inner GPS, which is your connection to God. Source, your higher self, whatever you want to call it. I don't care if you call this energy Bob, but we all have that GPS, that beautiful connection. It knows when something's off and wrong and it feels bad. But this is when our head drops in and it goes, yeah, but if I speak out, yeah, but if I do this, it's going to equal that. You know what? Your soul knows there's only right town or wrong town. And if you ignore that GPS, you're going into wrong town. And the thing is, there is a very powerful truth. Sometimes you have to go to war to get peace. And that's your evolution as well. Okay? So, pillar number one is the more you try to keep the peace and go along and don't risk being uncomfortable and just hope for the best, you are firmly going full steam ahead into wrong town. Because every time you give up a boundary and a piece of yourself, you are being entrapped into your own demise. And we really have to take responsibility. We're not kids now. We're adults and we're awakening and we're evolving. It's nobody else's responsibility to get you out of that deep, dark hole other than yourself. Okay. Are we clear about the first pillar? I hope so, because it's everything. Okay. The second pillar that we need to understand is good. Crystal clear. That's great. The second pillar is you living aligned with your boundaries. And we're going to look at them. People go, well, I don't even know what my boundaries are. They're actually very simple. And I'm going to touch on what they are because they are very, very, very simple. We just get it all complicated. When you live aligned with your boundaries, there are going to be people and things in your life that have to go. You need to get very clear about that. And of course, that's uncomfortable and it's even devastating and it's destructive and it means you're going to lose a heap and you're going to have to rebuild. It means all of that. And that's something you have to accept. So the second pillar of boundaries is my soul, my value, my truth, which will deliver me my true life and true self, which is beyond glorious, by the way. You will get there after the war. You will. But I am going to have to go through a war. I'm going to have to go through it. I'm going to have to let go of people, situations, and things. First of all, the first pillar, I'm going to have to be uncomfortable. And I'm going to have to take a stand. And then the second pillar is there's going to be losses. And I need to accept that. Because this is the thing. There are people and situations that do not have your best interests at heart. They don't. They don't have the desire to, and they don't even have the capacity to. And you're never going to change them. And just because you are a good person who has a soul, who cares about others, who wants harmony and teamwork and win-win and everybody to flourish and nourish and be well and healthy and loving and true, just because you want that does not mean that everybody does. So you need to get your head around that there are people and things that do not have your best interests at heart. They don't. What does that mean? It means that you've been food for them, you are being harvested by them, you are being abused by them, you are being emptied out by them, and it's not going to stop until you stop it. So, this means that yes, you would dearly love situations and people. It's nearly impossible to get your head around that these people and situations, they're not for me, they don't care about me, and they're actually out to destroy me. I'm sorry to drop this bomb on you, but it's the truth. Now, this is no reflection on you. It's actually a reflection on them. It doesn't mean you're unlovable. It doesn't mean you're unworthy. But it also means that if you stay fast asleep and just continue on the way you've been going, you are going to your demise. And it also doesn't mean everybody's like this, because they're not. There are beautiful, incredible aspects of humanity and people that will blow your socks off with the richness, the goodness, the heart, the compassion, the integrity, the beauty that exists. Absolutely. But you are not going to have access to that until you step up and become that for yourself. And we have to understand that the world is a massive resource of incredible resources. It has everything from the highest of the good to the worst of the evil. It all exists. So it's what you are going to say yes to and what you're going to say no to that is going to generate and create the life that you're going to be living. When you know you are around narcissistic people. Now, let me get back to being very clear about living aligned with your values and recognizing what they are. They have to be. And this is the baseline for any human relationship to work in a healthy way. Any human relationship, whether it be your neighbor, let alone your spouse. There has to be kindness. There has to be care. There has to be the ability to want teamwork and resolution when there's conflict. And there has to be the ability to have reasonable conflict skills. I can hear you, you can hear me. We have a common goal. We want to resolve this. We want harmony. We want win-win. We want togetherness. We want teamwork. There has to be those things. People aren't perfect. And what does kindness and care do? It is when I do something bad, I can turn around and say, I am really sorry. I know that hurt you. I don't want to hurt you. How can I make this up to you? Because we all have our moments. Yeah, we're not perfect, but we're kind. Now, if you are with somebody and we're honest, okay? Yeah, occasionally everybody can say, no, your bum doesn't look big in those jeans. It looks great. Of course, we can be that. I'm talking about whopping great pathological lies, which is what narcissists do. So here we have been trying to have relationships with people who are not kind, who are not sorry when they hurt you. They don't care about your feelings at all. They lie their asses off all the time about small things, medium things, big things that they don't even have to lie about. They are not interested in teamwork and resolution. They don't want harmony. They don't want to get it together with you in a win-win way. They don't want peace and growth and health and well-being because that makes them feel like they're dying. They want intensity, drama. They want to trigger you. They want to affect you emotionally, horrifically, so that it gives them the narcissistic feed that they exist. It feeds their significant and their false self. A narcissist in harmony and peace has got to buck the system. They can't stand it because then they start falling into the inner voices of their own inner void that is threatening to eat them alive if they can't project it outwards and create drama. These people don't want love, relationship, and harmony. They don't. They want to empty you out because of power, control, and psychopathic brain derangement. It's all about them. It's nothing about you. So, your second pillar is accepting this. Accepting that for you to have boundaries, you have to decide what is your truth and what isn't. Remember at the start of this talk, I said to you, a boundary is about keeping the good in and the bad out. What does that mean? It means I say yes to this and I say no to that. So you need to get very clear that you are going to say yes to kindness, truth, the ability to work through things. And you're going to say no to people that couldn't give a shit about that. If your rights are being stamped all over and your emotional health, you are being abused. This is not somebody working with you in a kind and caring way for the greater good of everybody concerned at all. At all. Your human rights are being abused. That's not care. That's not kindness. All right? Now, I know, and I promise you, because I was there, I didn't understand boundaries. I hadn't done the inner work. I kept trying to change him and fix him. I kept trying to make him into the type of person I wanted him to be so that I could feel loved, approved of, and have my security and my survival feel safe. And it never worked. Now, I know a lot of you have got properties, you've got kids, you've got all sorts of things, but I really want to tell you this. Whatever you lose when you are in wrong town, when you let go and you start honoring you, wait and see how life can honor you in ways that are unlimited, that will thrill you and stun you when you get aligned with the truth of your soul. It unlocks your true life. I promise you that. The other thing is, if you have children, and I know this is so heartbreaking, but the children that do the best in our community are with, even if they're co-parented 50-50, they are the children who are connected to people who left, who started healing, who led the way in their own soul development, emancipation, and resurrection. Because where you go is where your children go, and you only need one healthy parent. The people that I have worked with who are the most traumatized, these are adults now. They came from a narcissistic parent and a codependent parent who stayed, who got battered and smashed and annihilated. Those are the kids that are worst off. Do you know what? They didn't just get abandoned by the narcissistic parent who was abusive and triangulating and using them as the golden child or the scapegoat or whatever. They were also deeply abandoned by the parent who couldn't look after themselves and didn't take a stand for their own soul, and did not lead the way for them to be able to do it as an adult. Now, I know this might be hard to hear, but it's the truth. My own son nearly lost his life to addictions when I stayed traumatized and hooked in, even after I'd left. By me not healing me, he couldn't heal him. When I led the way and I started healing and resurrected my soul, he came where I went. You're not just saving your own life here. Okay? All right. And I don't want any of you to blame and shame yourselves. You're doing the best you can with what you know. You're on a battlefield trying to survive the bullets. I don't want you to be hard on yourself. I don't want you to think you're defective. I don't want you to feel guilt. Your guilt's not helping your children either. Your healing does. And it's all to do with boundaries. Let's just go back through it again. Pillar one is knowing the more you hand over your rights and yourself and your soul, the worse it's going to get. You cannot acquiesce your way out of this. You can't. Pillar number two is knowing that nobody's responsible for your boundaries, only you are, and that you're going to have to take a stand and lose people and stuff. Because the beautiful thing about boundaries, as painful as all of that is, when you lay a boundary and you get it clear, and nobody needs to get it, only you do. The people who are going to join you in that level of a more evolved, wholesome, respectful, healthy relationship will step up and meet you at that level. And the people that don't have the desire or the capacity, or never wanted that anyway, are going to fall away. So what happens is you start creating a life, and at first it may just be you with you and source that have that respect and alignment, plus our beautiful Thriver tribe here, this community of people who get you because we're either going through it or we've been through it or we're working on it, who totally get you. You have a Thriver family here, your people. And that may be it for a while before you learn how to cut all of that no out, get aligned with your yeses, and then walk forward in a way where you can generate it and create it for real, piece by piece, where you know how to be yourself. You know how to speak up. You know how to be aligned with your values. You know how to have the difficult conversations. You know how to question things. You know how to show up in a way that inspires people to step up with you or expose themselves if they can't and won't. And then you just go, okay, well, thank you for showing me you're not a match. And you can, you can abuse me. You can call me anything you want. You can carry on like a pork chop, twist yourself into 1,000 shapes. And I'll just go, look, not my deal. This is my deal. That's not my deal. Can you imagine what a wonderful day it is when you get to that level? Can you imagine what a wonderful day it is when you get to the level of you listen to your inner being and you honor it and you go, look, maybe this could be a wound from my past. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's them. I'm not sure. But however, I can show up. I can genuinely, authentically ask the questions. I can feel calm and safe doing it. And I know decent people, this is the thing, right? If you're asking the question and you're doing it in a respectful, aligned, genuine way, genuine souls appreciate people who respect themselves. They have nothing to hide because they're not duplicitous. They're not dodgy and shifty and out to undermine you. I want you to understand this from the bottom of my bottom. When you are asking for information or clarification or even proof from any person and organization about your concerns, if they're on the up and up, they will just show you. If they're not on the up and up, they will shame you, blame you, guilt you, smear you, demonize you, attack you, cancel you. There you have your answer. Okay? So these are all of the skills and the alignments. And when you're a thriver and you're healing your stuff, you don't take it personally. You go, thank you. You have just completely outed yourself. And I've just dodged a massive bullet here. All right. So, everybody, I want you to know, if you know people struggling with boundaries, please share this live, because this is really important information. Moving forward in our lives for everybody right now. It really, really is. Hipsy Gypsy is saying, I want the emotional flashbacks to stop. I promise you, Hipsy Gypsy, my work is all about that. That when you use the Thrive Away to Heal, which is quantum freedom healing, we pick up the traumas generating those flashbacks and thoughts, we release them, we bring in source, and they dissolve away. Literally. Literally. It's such a key piece of my work. And people in this community that are working with NARP, or they've worked with Thrive or Quantum Freedom Healing or any of my programs, they know this, because this is how we get free. We get free from the trauma inside. We feel with source. The thoughts melt away, as does the agoraphobia, the post-traumatic stress disorder, the adrenal malfunctions, the fibromyalgia, the agoraphobias, the depression, the anxiety, the panic attacks. All of it melts away. And you get in your body in a really wholesome, powerful, solid way. That's what my work's about. That's why it heals so powerfully. So, all right. Now, everything I'm talking about, we go through in a very powerful, intense way in Thrive. And you know I'm tough, okay, because this is the thing with my work. I don't sugarcoat it. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. Because I'm not up for, I never have been, even before all this stuff. I'm not up for the long way round with anything. I'm way too impatient. And I really believe that we're here to be on our deathbed one day and say, you know what? I really went for it. I really went for it. It really counted. Now, how can it count when we're full of trauma? We're trying to survive our battle wounds, and it takes everything we have to get out of bed and make a cup of tea in the morning. That's not living. I'm not up for that. I'm up for releasing you from the torment and the trauma to get into your true self and your true life and your true soul and your true purpose. But we can't do that when we're still stuck in the battle. I want to get you off the battlefield. It's kind of like a bird going into the bird hospital. Mend your wings, and you can come out and you can, first of all, flap them a bit and get off the ground. And then one day you're going to soar. But we've got to get you into the bird hospital. And that's what the Thriver Healing is all about. Okay. I'm not interested in 10, 20 years of therapy. Heck, I'm not even interested in 5 years of therapy. I'm not even really interested in 2 years of therapy. I'm interested in within weeks and months and 18 months that your life is unrecognizable. Some people in our community, it happens within 6 months. Our last Thrive group, for some people, it happened in 10 weeks. So, you know, I give it everything I've got to get you there. So check out Thrive. Again, melanietoniaevans.com/thrive. Okay, so our third pillar, okay, so let's just go back through it again, because boundaries are everything. The first one is that you realize that, what was the first one? I'm just trying to remember now. Gosh. Okay, so you're realizing, let's just encapsulate all of it. That you realize that your boundaries are up to you. You realize that if you keep acquiescing, things are going to get worse for you. You can't just keep the peace. You can't take the easy way out. And you can't just take the road of least resistance. The road of least resistance is so inauthentic because you're not being truthful. You're not even actually being truthful to other people. You're not being truthful to yourself. So, what is your truths? What are your values? And you're going to have to stand in them, and there's going to be carnage. Okay? But the truth sets you free, and rather than getting deeper into wrong town, yes, you're going to go through a battle, but you're going to be driving towards right town where it all makes sense. Okay, so the third part about boundaries, the third pillar of boundaries are never about fixing, changing, and lecturing and prescribing to other people. They're not about other people getting it. So, a boundary to somebody who's narcissistic would not be about, well, I need to hold you accountable and I need you to understand that you pathologically lie and it's not okay, it's not healthy, and you need to read up about integrity and honesty and being able to be genuinely remorseful and even realize what you've done. Does this sound familiar? Because I tried all of that. That's actually not a boundary. And people say, well, I'm laying boundaries because I'm telling them how I feel and it's not okay and it's not right. This is how quantum law works. Whatever you focus on intensely that you think you're saying no to, you're actually saying yes to it because you've made it your reality. You've dragged it into all of your synapses receptors, all of your limbic emotional being. It's infiltrated, it's in there, it's living as its own identity inside of you. You just said a whopping great yes to it. What is saying yes and no really about? It's not about you trying to get somebody else to get your boundary. Even if they do have capacity, it's not about trying to fix and change and lecture and prescribe and make them get it, ever. Even your kids when they're doing the wrong thing. A boundary is, this is my truth, integrity and honesty. And I'm actually not doing any relationship with anybody. I am not going to participate with you anymore. I only do relationships in integrity. That's it. And then what does that mean? When you say it and you get it, doesn't matter what they say. Odd it would be from a narcissist, be something like you. Well, what about you? What about all the times you've lied? What about this? What about that? Any dirt they have on you, they'll throw on you. They'll throw on you. And this is why when you decide with a narcissist, a sociopath, or a psychopath, that really has no capacity or comprehension of integrity, let alone all the other things we've talked about, you don't even have to tell them. And let's face it, if you do tell them, they're just probably going to come back at you and bombard you and try to hook you in with every bit of dirt they've got on you. They might say, well, your Auntie May, she told me about all the things you've lied about. You've experienced it. I'm talking to the converted here. You know what they do. Why even have the conversation? Why even lay a boundary with them? You're not laying a boundary with them. You're not laying a boundary with these people. You're deciding it for yourself. This is my truth. This is my yes. That crap is my no. So what does that mean? You don't even have to tell them. You don't even have to give them a reason. Maybe they're at work. Maybe you organize a truck. Maybe you get your stuff. Maybe you organize things in the background. Maybe you know thy enemy. Maybe you get your ducks in a row and you keep your cards very close to your chest because you are at war. What does that mean? If you're at war, you've got to be smart. The normal rules of engagement do not work here. They're off the table. Have you not realized that yet? So you say, the more I acquiesce, the more I'm going to get destroyed. The more I participate, the more I'm going to get destroyed. The more I try and fix and change and lecture and prescribe and get you to get it, I'm going to get destroyed. So your third pillar is I decide what is true for me and I'm going to do it. And you don't need to get it. I'm just going to do it. And I know it's so painful and it's so scary. It's like, well, what am I going to lose? What are they going to do? How are they going to retaliate? What are they going to do to me? And this is where the shifting is so, so powerful. So there's, even if you get really clear about this stuff and you just go, right, I'm going to do it. If you've still got a lot of internal traumas that are going to come racing up to the surface, and even if you go no contact and you get your stuff out of there and you get your ducks in a row and you get somewhere safe, what's going to hit you in aftershock is really scary. So many feelings of loss and devastation and what if and maybe I should have and maybe I've been really nasty and possibly I should have had the conversation and maybe if they'd have known that I was really leaving for good that they would have tried. You can drive yourself crazy. You feel like there's 10 people in your head having 10 different discussions. What is that about? That's about unhealed trauma that's still in your inner being that is completely hijacking your emotional somatic limbic system, and your brain is following your body. That's what that's about. And that's why the inner quantum healing directly on your somatic limbic emotional system can clean all of that up so that you just have peace and logical solidness with some bleeps, but nothing like that onslaught of obsession. It's huge. So that's why, and it's really interesting because everything I'm telling you today, if I hadn't have done the inner work and got out all my limiting, handing my power away programs that were running my life deeply ingrained, if I hadn't cleaned them up, I wouldn't even have the wisdom to tell you today because our brain can only think within the bandwidth of what's going on inside of us. I had to get that shift before I got this clarity. But the great news is, after everything I went through and discovered that, and now 14 years of helping people with this, I can help you get this very quickly. It takes inner work. This is information, but it takes inner work with it. Does that make sense? Okay. Okay. So let's just go back through our 3 pillars of boundaries. Acquiescing and trying to keep the peace get you deeper into the hole. The second one is you have to accept that there are people and situations that are not for you. In fact, they're against you and they are harvesting off you, feeding off you, and getting control and resources out of you that will take you to your demise. Doesn't mean you're a bad person or you're unlovable or you don't deserve any better. It means that they're crap people. Okay? There are crap people. There are evil people. Accept it. And often they're the people we want to look after us the most. We do. But they're crap people. You need to accept it. And it's sad, but it is what it is. And then the third one is your boundary is never about getting somebody else to agree with and step up into your boundary. Ever. That equals how to lose. It's about you living your boundary and then being very clear about your yes and your no. And you don't get to interact with me. You don't get to hang out. We don't get to do life together because it's not my truth. Okay. I hope this helps. I hope this is tough and it's straight to the heart of matters, but I so live the truth. The truth lets me free, sets us free. It set me free. And I refuse, after lying to myself or hoping for the best and all those things I used to do, it nearly took me to my grave. If I can save one life, emotionally, let alone figuratively and literally. If I can save one life by telling you the truth, I'm going to do it every day of the week. Okay? All right. This is time for any questions. Does anybody have? And let's just breathe and let's just. How are you feeling after hearing that stuff? Let me know. And Janet, you said you were saving my life. Really, what I'm doing is I'm helping you save your own life because I can't save your life. I can just point you inwards to save your own. All right. Kent, you feeling validated? Yeah. So, how does this feel? How does this information feel today? If you just breathe and you feel it in your body, how does it feel? Okay. We've got people feeling and not speaking yet. I know. Confirmation. Good. Okay, KG, PTSD. When you heal inside with Quantum Freedom Healing, the Thrive Away, all PTSD melts away. I promise you. That's why I so suggest the inner work. It's for everything, including PTSD. Okay. It's wonderful, Cass. Oh, that's so good. Okay. Yeah, good, Nobi. It's powerful. I feel stronger. This is about getting you into your own body and your own power. The only power is inside of you. And it is such a beautiful life when you stop feeling powerless and you feel powerful because we're going to have challenges. We're having challenges. Life is not always going to treat us kindly, is it? But if we've got our inner power and our inner datum and our inner connection with Source right, you will get through all of it in the most thriving way. Okay. What a transition phase saying. Yeah. So Cass is saying inner work has helped you. No more PTSD, no more meds. Just 3 years after leaving. Cass, that's beautiful. And we have people that, it's not a time frame you're healing. We have people that within months or straight after leaving get straight onto it and the PTSD can't even grab hold. But you can clean it up even after 40 years of it. It's really amazing. Kent, how to make a deep connection with Source. That's what Quantum Freedom Healing is all about. Kent, come in to thrive. You'll love it. We have a whole big session on getting that connection with Source empowered. Yeah, you will get so much out of it, Ken. I think you're working with NARP, Ken. Thrive could take it to a whole other level for you. How to maintain no contact with an adult child we were so close with. How to maintain no contact with well, I'd have to look into the specifics of that, Farah. Christine saying, I hate living this way. Absolutely. It's no way to live with trying to survive our inner trauma. It's horrific. Yeah. Yeah. Faye. It helped ASAP. I still heal every single day and I will do it until I die because I'm worth it. Yep. Oh, Cass, I'm so sorry you went through that. That's just horrible. Is the Thrive program different from NARP? Laura, it's the same. Well, yeah, it is because Thrive is like, let's say if you went to gym and you said, okay, I'm going to sign up for this 10-week boot camp to get intense, spectacular, fast track results. That's what Thrive does because we work together in person. There's live sessions. Go to the page and have a look at it. But also, too, what happens in each session, and there's 10, we have a group Quantum Freedom Healing at the end of it. And when you have hundreds of people in intention, and the intention is set, that whatever somebody else is shifting, if it relates to a trauma that you need to up level, you get it as well. So the super boost in those healings of releasing trauma and bringing in Source and getting a reset back to true self is so magnified in power. It's phenomenal. You can literally shift out decades of traumas in that hour session, in that healing each week. So people were getting super boosts that blew us all away. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Kent, that's so lovely. Yeah. Violet's so beautiful. Violet's helped so many people. Oh, Nobi, thank you. That's really beautiful what you're saying. The work you do seems effortless, and I know you healed so much to be able to share with us. It means the world. I really did, and I still do, Nobi. If I get dense energy in my body, or I know I'm not on my best game, or I know something's stuck in my life, or traumatizing me, or giving me anxiety, absolutely, I pick it up, I shift it out, I bring in source, I keep continually up leveling and upgrading my DNA, to humbly be the best person I can be. And, therefore, the information that I share with you is source coming through me. It's not even me. And we've all got connection to that without our trauma. No. Live with a narcissist. Oh, gosh. Okay, vibrations on fleck with Nessa Ray. Okay, you're saying your child's going through a really, really, really tough time. Okay, when you work with quantum freedom healing, because this child came from you, when you heal how you feel about it and you up level to being filled with source, they get the knock on effect from that. You can actually then also do proxy healings on your child using your body as the temple. And you will affect them through you. It's incredible. And we have so many people in our community that work with that. And I did that with my own son to save him from just a horrific drug addiction. Completely snapped it off for him incredibly quickly. Yeah. How do you do proxy healing for children? We teach all about that in the NARP forum. Farah, are you working with quantum freedom healing? Because you really do need to be able to. It's a more advanced tweak with quantum freedom healing. We also go into it deeply in Thrive because there's lots of people struggling. There was in the last group with their children and what's going on, and we got massive breakthroughs happening with people with that. Yeah, because it really does affect our kids. It's been, you know, it's so hard for everything and everybody that we love what we've been through. Okay, Lily, the inner work, you have to come in and do quantum freedom healing to understand that. You can't, this is the thing. Logically, how do I explain the inner work unless you actually do a session and feel it and experience it for yourself? So those of you who would like an introduction to the inner work, come into my free webinar. There's a healing in there that I take you through, and there's a whole big explanation about my work and how it works and the NARP program. And it's all for free, and you get a free healing at the end where you can start experiencing it for yourself. You really do need to experience it to start, because it's like, how do you logically explain energy and the intangible? Like, it's not like a doctor and they do an x-ray and it's like, well, you've got a 20-pound grief container in there. You can't see this stuff. You have to feel it and experience it. Yeah. And it was a great question, Lily. It was a really great question. So, all right, Farah, I've been doing that, but there's nothing about proxy healing. Yeah, Farah, you can Google it, my name and proxy healing. And also too, in the NARP members forum, there's lots of information about proxy healing. You can ask about it. Yeah. All right. All right, everybody. I hope that we've nearly gone an hour. I hope that this has really helped. I'm just beyond excited and thrilled to be able to have the honor to help so many of you be able to have incredible, fast breakthroughs in Thrive, those of you who are coming into it. And I also know that there were people that were in Thrive who were like, I got so much, I want to go again. No, we'd love to have you again. We can never stop learning and up leveling enough. But and there was also some people on my last live that were saying, I'm trying up and I can't kind of really feel and I can't really connect to the inner trauma in Thrive. We helped a lot of people that were very disassociative that couldn't quite crack it. They cracked it. And then their whole quantum freedom healing experience exploded into this, you know, uh, being able to get fast, powerful up levels. So please know, it absolutely can work for you, and we'll do everything we can to help you be able to make it work for you. Okay. All right. Gorgeous. Thank you, everybody. Oh, gosh. I want you all to be boundary beasts. We all deserve the true life and true self and to be surrounded by people that are caring and kind and want teamwork and want what we want. And we all deserve to get away from that, and which doesn't. And that's what boundaries are all about. All right. I love you all so much. Go check out Thrive. Again, MelanieTonyEvans.com/Thrive. We do have only a set number that go in there because it is a very personalized, very hands on experience. So we can't just have everybody in, like we can't have too many. Lots of spaces have gone. There's only, I think, coming up to 2 weeks left. So check it out. And I'd love to have you in there. All right, everybody. So much love. Have a beautiful morning, evening, or day. And I can't wait to talk to you all again soon. Lots of love. Bye bye.